Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Keri Warnick with Multi-Region Purchasing Co-op, and welcome to the Foodservice View. So today I am super excited. I've got a great group of panelists, and just a few things before we get started and before I introduce each one. So at the bottom of your screen, if you're an attendee, you've got the option for a chat panel where you may talk amongst yourselves, chat back and forth. But if you want to ask a question, either just to the group in general or to a specific panelist, you'll need to use the Q&A panel. I have Elizabeth Gonzalez, my commodity specialist today, managing the Q&A panel. And so that's also down there at the bottom of your screen. And as the questions come in, if they are specific to the topic question, which the way this is going to go today, I've got 7 topic questions I'll be asking the group. I'll be calling on different panelists with each question, and any panelist can chime in to answer the 7 initial questions. Once we get through that, each of the companies that wanted a few specific questions asked to them, I will be asking them directly. You are welcome as an attendee to ask questions at any point during this presentation, and I hope you enjoy it. So we'll go ahead and get started, but I want to introduce everyone first. So today I've got Kevin Horn from SA Piazza Wild Mike's Pizza. Thanks Kevin. I've got Candace Vaughn from JTM Foods.
Morning.
I've got Jody Batten and Diane Duncan from Red Gold Tomatoes.
Good morning.
And then I've got 3 reps from Tyson. I've got Brenda Renfro.
Hi, happy Tuesday.
Jennifer Fox.
Morning.
And Linda Ballas.
Morning.
And then from Schwan's, I've got Dawn Strain.
Good morning.
From JR Simplot, I've got Becky Fox.
Morning, everybody.
And I don't think Laura ever logged on, so maybe later she'll log on. From General Mills, I've got Kathy Hintz.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
And then from Land O'Lakes, I've got Rick McCain.
Good morning.
There you are. My screen shifts every now and then. And then from Sun Cup, I've got Chris Smith.
Good morning.
And from Parpack, I've got Larissa Ferguson.
Good morning.
All right, I didn't miss anyone, did I? Oh, good. It is still early, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started with my initial questions, and I will pose the question to the group, and then I'm gonna call on different panelists to answer. If any of you want to chime in, you're more than welcome. I will remind you to mute your mics if you're not speaking, so that helps cut down on some of the background noise or any echo that might occur. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so my first question is, please describe any changes your company implemented as schools started to close due to COVID. I'll go ahead and start with Brenda.
Good morning again. Well, changes that we've had at Tyson right now, of course, we're not actually on the road, we're not traveling, which sort of makes it a little difficult in times of communicating with our food service partners in K-12. But we are utilizing Zoom meetings, we are working across the board with videos, we are also incorporating lists that we've submitted to several different websites like TDA, some of our co-ops of products that are core items that are available, as well as packaging solutions. So it's been an interesting time, but what I will find is just knowing that they had that contact to be able to set up meetings, to be able to vent those ideas, vent those needs, and as well as talk about, you know, whether the supply is going to be there or not. So it's actually been interacting with Zoom meetings and a great personal touch. So that's sort of how we've been working with schools so far. It's just keeping the lines of communication open, you know, even if it's a 5 or 10 minute conversation based on their needs.
Right. Yes. Great. Yes, it definitely has changed the landscape. All right. Jody Batten. Oh, there you are. So same question, what changes did your company implement?
Well, I think immediately when this happened, you know, the first thing that came to our mind was, you know, what can we do to help the schools? So we started thinking about available inventory, curbside, bus feeding, you know, what did we have in the inventory pipeline? What did we need to start making? So we immediately started shifting some of our production resources to what we felt like would be the grab and go items that would be most needed. We also started working with our distributors, creating what we kind of called our emergency feeding template, where we could put our products together with potential other products that would be stocked at a distributor with code numbers, again, to try to help schools have actual 5-component emergency meals that included our products and other products, and again, trying to distribute that. We created some COVID resources. I think SNA has done a great job of helping partner industry members be able to host some of those resources. And then, looking at bulk inventory, obviously we stopped producing that quite a bit and really shifted our resources towards the portion control IW items.
Right. Okay, great. Now, I do want to hear from Larissa. Any changes that you guys made with PARPAC at the beginning of all this?
Yes, we've made quite a few changes. So PARPAC was purchased by Novalex, and we have a wealth of different companies. We also have Duro bags, we have the t-shirt bags, we have quite a few variety of different items, which in turn has led us to develop some PPE equipment. So I wanted to make everybody aware that we do have face shields now, and we also have PPE gowns. With that, also, we have been working very closely with our marketing department to determine what are some solutions to help with the schools. And with our lines, we have developed quite a few different email blasts that are going out to food service directors just to keep us in front of them so they know that we are there to help them in whatever scenario they go back to when they go back to school.
Okay, great. So a definite shift in kind of what you were producing with the start of all this. All right, does anyone else want to go ahead and chime in on this question? I'm going to just throw it to the group. No, you guys feeling good? Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question. So when COVID started, obviously production was affected. Can any of you share what that looked like in your company? And I'll go ahead and start with Don Stream. If you want to go ahead and chime in on that, Don.
Yes, absolutely. Number two, yeah, obviously production's been impacted, I think, for most manufacturers, and for us specifically at Schwan's, with the shift from an operator standpoint to a lot of the individually wrapped items. There wasn't as much inventory or production planned for that. Mm-hmm. So most of the manufacturers clearly started experiencing a run on those products, which really kind of freed us up because we're not completely unique. A lot of manufacturers here even have a big retail presence also, but it allowed our retail side of the company to focus on all the frozen pizzas that you've seen in the grocery stores. So a lot of our production capabilities went towards that. And the good news is that now with back to school, and plus I feel like we have a better handle on, not a good enough handle yet, but a better understanding of what we may expect when we start school again in the fall. So we're ramping back up now. So yes, our production capabilities were impacted initially, but we're back at full steam now, focusing on the core and popular items, including IW.
Okay, great. And it's interesting because I know, with Schwan's a lot of bulk packed foods, and I want to shift over to Kathy Hintz with General Mills, who a lot of individually wrapped foods. So how did that affect a company like yours?
Well, I think it affected all of us because nobody knows the unknown. And if there's anything that we are doing right now for that is we're listening and trying to learn, just like everybody else out there, as what you are going to need when you go back to school and everything. And we're looking across the whole United States because every state is even going to be different. We're continually trying to understand whether they will be going for the individually wrapped or are they going to go for the bulk.
Right.
So those are things that we want to know what you plan to utilize, and whether or not you're going to do home meals or take home, or how are you going to utilize that. So the insights that you all have will help shape our inventory and our production. And of course, it all comes down to communication and what your dining plan is and what those forecasts are. And even if you have to change those forecasts after a week or two, we're here for you. Just communicate that so that we know we can have it for your distributor, because we can work on our end of the production while you're also working on your end of letting them know what your distributor needs. So we're already telling, hey, this distributor needs this.
Right. And I'm glad you said that, because I think, in the last meeting, distributor talked about that. If schools can just submit something, even if it was their original plan, even though they know that might change, at least it's a start and it gets the production ball rolling so that things are starting to be made. And we know there are going to be adjustments. We know there's still many unknowns. So I think it's just getting that, going forward. So, go ahead.
I like to explain it as when you have a forecast and as accurate as you can be. We always know that beginning of the year is a little bumpy, and around the holidays is a little bumpy. But I look at it as when you have a halfway decent forecast, when we have these things that happen across the United States, whether it is a hurricane or natural disasters, the bonus is we have a base. And that's when we just have to add more. But
Right.
If that demand is higher before that even happened, we have to make up all that product. So together,
Correct.
being communication-wise is very key.
Yes, I would agree. So to flip it over to Candace, I know that JTM has some portion pack type items, but a majority of your items are bulk pack. And I know most of you are running your production facilities 24/7. So talk a little bit to that, Candace, that question.
Yeah, thank you so much. We've been receiving a lot of information from schools, especially through the TDA surveys and stuff, on what schools are planning to do in August. What scares me is that they all say they've communicated their needs to their distributor and manufacturer, but I've only heard literally from one school district that gave me exactly what they want in August and September, and quite frankly scares me to death because they ordered almost 10,000 cases of IW product when they diverted for bulk product. And obviously we won orders because I haven't received orders from any distributors since March. I have very few customers right now that are currently buying from me, getting through summer feeding and stuff. But now I'm starting to see orders come in for the new school year, and I'm not getting bulk orders. I'm getting IW orders. And, IW does take about 3 to 4 times as long to run as the bulk products. So as typically we're ramping up now for the beginning of school production, we're still producing product for summer feedings. And where that lag time is going to come from, it's just not going to happen. We're not going to have those extra days. So we've currently moved to a 4-week lead time at JTM.
Right. And that was one of my questions to many, how is that IW, affecting, which we'll address a little bit later. So I have been seeing some questions come through. So Elizabeth, I'm going to give you this moment. If there are any questions that we might need to address before I move on.
Well, there are 2 questions, kind of piggybacks to what Candace just said about, one of the schools is asking, will we see a production loss on bulk items since large districts are wanting IW? And then the second question is, my question for the industry group is, what have you been hearing so far from school food service? Have you been hearing anything as far as if they want bulk, IW, or both?
It's all across the board.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let Jennifer, go ahead. You raise your hand if you want to answer to that.
Yeah, so we've been kind of seeing multiple different things. We've got, some districts saying that, I'm Jennifer with Tyson, so I know somebody asked that question to introduce who we're with. But we're hearing from different districts, some that are saying it's going to be business as usual when school starts up. Just to kind of give an example, because I think most manufacturers, we typically use historical data. So what we did last year is what we work on for pre-build for school back startup. This year is going to be a little bit unique with we having a lot of schools asking for IW products. We do have some IW products, but like Candace mentioned earlier, that the throughput of IW is about a third less than of putting bulk items through there. So trying to nationally, provide IW products will become difficult for all manufacturers. So we're trying to create different ways to help with bulk items so you can continue using those regular products, just maybe in a different concept than what you've been accustomed to in the past. So I think if we get a good balanced mix of that, I think it's going to be helpful industry-wide, where we can help provide those items to the districts that need those.
Yes, I would agree. I'm really trying to push towards, thinking outside of the IW box, so to speak, to, using those bulk packages. Yes, Brenda.
Just to add to what Jennifer's saying, what's interesting, even within the district, we're finding between elementary and secondary is still even different serving methods. So it's not just the district specific, it's as a whole, we got to look at both secondary as well as elementary. The other piece that I wanted to throw back as well, we were talking about forecasting that they had mentioned earlier, and it's not just on the volume of items you're going to currently purchase, you're not going to produce on. Now we've got product that no one intends to buy that's taking up space that could have been produced somewhere else. So in terms of districts, our change in view, I mean, we could have and going to be different. So that's why that forecast to help us narrow down those volume existing items that may drop, half of what they used to purchase last year.
Right. Yeah, I do think many of you are going to struggle with some of those issues across the board. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question. So we've kind of touched on individually wrapped products, but I would like to ask the question for some of those that do you have the ability to individually wrap your products? And it's not so much do you have the equipment or not, but also some products are not really to be wrapped individually. So I'm going to start with Kevin Horn from Wild Mike's. Kevin, if you want to talk to that about individually wrapped.
Yeah, we do. We individually wrap our wedges, our breakfast pizza. We have a 2-and-2 breadstick. We do individually wrap generally all of our bulk items. The problem with pizza is that it like Candace was saying, it takes a little bit longer. You can't go straight from the par-baked dough to putting the toppings on and then putting it right into the individually wrapper, because then moisture builds up, it melts to the film. So you literally have to freeze the product, put it through the freezer first, then bring it back out, rerun it through the line, and individually wrap it. So there's where you see the slowdown of the production of the individually wrapped. But we do offer multiple items in the individually wrapped to transport, which is also an issue that schools are going to have to figure out how they're going to, if they're going to do feedings in the classroom, how are they going to get it there? How long are they going to allow the kids to eat in the classroom? How are they going to pick up the trash, and on and on and on, because there will be considerable more with individually wrapped items. There's going to be more trash that's going to be needed to be paid attention to. So the main issue is just the amount of time that it takes to individually wrap products. It's not just simply run it one time through the line and individually wrap it. So just bear that in mind. There are options to continue to buy bulk. I'm sure with most of the companies on here, like we have a white plastic, a white paper bag with the Wild Mike's emblem logo on it that you can put a bulk item in, a wedge or a 5-inch round, and still transport it if you need
Flexibility, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And I know we're going to come back around to you with some specific company questions. So I do want to also call on Becky Fox, because we're talking French fries, and we all know that French fries are typically not an IW product and need to breathe. So if you'd like to talk to this question, Becky.
And the other unfortunate part about that is all of our fries come in bulk pack, and we do not have the capability to individually wrap, nor would we want to, because fries need to breathe. They need to release that steam. One suggestion would be to get some of those, like you see at McDonald's, get those little sleeves that they put the 101 hash brown patties in, perhaps, and pair those with another side in one of those to-go containers, the 2-part containers. Nobody really likes a soggy fry, but the reality of it is when you box something up and you trap that steam in, you're going to get a soggy fry. The other option might be to move to more of a gem type product that has a better hold, that can stay crispier. I know that we have a lot of those types of items. The preformed items seem to hold better, would be a better option. Hope that helps a little.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Now, Rick, let's talk about cheese.
Oops, sorry.
Oh,
Clicked
that's
on
all right.
my video.
Oh, where'd you go?
Yep. So Rick McCain with Land O'Lakes. You know, we have kind of 2 different sides. We've got what we call our grab and go, which is all individually wrapped items, cheese sticks and cups and cubes, things like that. The other side of it, the bulk, is really more of an ingredient. So it's not really something that would be individually wrapped. So, I mean, I guess I kind of, from our company standpoint, we don't have the ability to do that. I don't really think there's a need for it. So, and we're good from a supply and from a standpoint of production. We're pretty good on all of our, both sides of the aisle, from individually wrapped and bulk.
Great. Any questions, Elizabeth? I'm having her manage that. Dawn, did you want to comment on this?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I just
No, not at all.
Yeah, just because we've learned this over the past couple of weeks, and I've been really excited about it, because IW does have a lot of challenges. It is slower, et cetera, and for that reason, we do encourage also the use of bulk as much as you can, and we pull together resources to help by different service models wherever you're serving, to bulk wrap or in your own operations. But we've also made the decision over the past couple of weeks to prioritize IW production. So at Schwan's, we will be focusing on our popular products, bulk products, and 16-inch pieces that have been there for a long time, as well as our core IW products, 5 or 6 of them. So we expect to have a full supply of inventory when back to school hits, when you start ordering. Production will start at the end of June. And the reason that I mentioned that, one, is to let you know, I think it's important to know if there's a manufacturer that is kind of putting their sights on it. And the other thing that I wanted to make sure that I let you know about is that in our operations, our IW production is the most automated production that we have. So it's the safest, it's the cleanest. The product has been touched by fewer hands than in our automated process than any other products that we have. In addition to the flexibility that you all know about as far as serving in kiosk or in the classroom or sending home frozen steak and bake. So I just wanted to make sure that I made that message clear.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And I think, I think all of you are correct. We are going to see a mix of serving styles, and that grade group is going to differ, from each grade group. They talk about kiosk in the hallway and kids coming out to grab a lunch, but we know you get the little ones, the chance of spilling. But I don't think a lot of schools think about the domino effect of in-classroom feeding, because I'm helping a district right now look for a carpet cleaning service on a monthly basis, because if they're going to do in-class feeding, carpet's in the classrooms, not in the cafeteria. So it builds on itself, and the cost and the budgets are going to be stretched. So it's very interesting times for sure. Okay, I'm going to move on to Chris Smith. Gotta pull the party guy into the picture here. So Chris, you've got Sun Cup. We're talking about individually wrapped and already portion packed products. But I want to know, at the start of this, when everyone was looking for those types of items, how did that affect some companies already doing some items like this? And did you all of a sudden see you were falling behind in demand? Did it create a longer lead time? What did that look like for you? You're muted, Chris. We're gonna have a Saturday Night Live session here with Chris.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Just learning. Like everybody else, we've had some adjustments along the way. Lead time, we are now at a 21-day lead time versus 10 is what we had before. I'm not gonna lie, I've been pretty fortunate. I already have juice packaged up, ready to go, shelf stable. We've definitely seen a drastic shift from the fresh and frozen to the shelf stable aseptic. We're seeing a little bit of the fresh frozen come back a little bit, but we feel long term, the aseptic is going to stick even after COVID is long gone. I feel like so. But overall, we've been pretty fortunate. In fact, our numbers have actually surpassed what we would have been doing if we had aseptic as well as the fresh and frozen. The aseptic numbers have just gone through the roof. So, but we've been pretty fortunate through this whole thing.
Okay, but you are seeing that longer lead time, which I'm kind of hearing across the board. Now, what about Larissa? Larissa, I want you to talk about as far as some of your items. Are you seeing certain things really being ordered, others not, like everyone else? I'm sure with packaging.
Yes, there's definitely a change. Our offer versus serve trays, our portion trays, 4, 5, 6 ounce trays, were our biggest sellers. Well, we're not seeing that happening, obviously, with the changes of how we're feeding students. We're seeing a lot of interest in all of our lids for our products, as well as our hinge containers. We have over 50 plus different types of hinge containers that are available in different sizes, clear and black, that could be used in a warmer, could not be used in a warmer, just different applications. So to confirm that, yes, there is a shift.
No surprise there. Okay, anyone else want to chime in on that topic? Candace? Yeah, Candace, go ahead.
Thanks. So the main issue that concerns me, back to my earlier statement on getting almost a 10,000 IW case order from a district, is the concern for us is on that RFP that we responded to. We responded to the majority of the items in bulk. The IW items that were on that bid were nowhere near those quantities estimated. So this is where the concern for us as a company comes, where we've bid on business, obviously with the bulk being the majority of it, and then for the customers to want to switch to the IW without the volume having been there in the beginning, that's a tricky slope for us to be on. However, we have done the same thing as Rick mentioned and Dawn mentioned about adding production to our IW products. So we've really hired additional folks, and we're going to be ramping up those production rooms so that we can meet the needs of our customers. With that being said, this is June 16th, and we are still, a month and a half out from school, and over communication is the key, I think, for all of us. If you've communicated your needs and your forecasting once, it probably wouldn't hurt to do it at least 2 or 3 more times to make sure that everyone in the loop gets that information, so that we can plan ahead for that.
Well, and I know that I can only speak for Labatt Foodservice, but I know that they are trying to push the districts to at least give a minimum 4 weeks forecasting, and they really prefer 8. And they are asking for what you can think, or stick with what you thought you were going to do in the fall. And as you make hard decisions, we can make adjustments. But at least, as we talked about a little earlier in the session, get the ball rolling. And I had a thought on something else as you were talking, but I left my head, so I'll have to kind of circle back to that.
Hey, Keri.
Yes.
Hey, this is Rick McCain, Land O'Lakes again. One of my concerns is, and one of the things I've thought about is, really like a run on IW items up front, creating a situation where basically demand outstrips supply. And then I've heard I've been on a lot of different calls, S&A calls, where a lot of districts are trying, they want to keep the hot meals and the normal sea of schools in there. But I'm also hearing the other side of it of a lot of IW. Hey, where's my IW? What can we do with IW? So I'm afraid there might be a run on IW where it outstrips demand, and all of a sudden there's let's switch to the warm meals, and then there's a run on the other stuff. And so it's just kind of like an up and down situation where we're not sure what to make and what to ship and what to plan for. So that's just one of the concerns that I kind of have in the back of my head.
And I think that is a very valid concern. And thank you for reminding me about the IW. I remember what I wanted to address. So I know as I sit on task force meetings with our state agency that, you know, in TDA's opinion, from a regulation standpoint, if you did not originally bid the IW product, because that produces a completely different product, it's a different price structure, it's a different product, you have to procure for that product. And I know there are a lot of waivers out there for emergency purchasing and so forth, but districts have to prove why they need those waivers. And I've heard some of the waivers, you know, some schools are not being approved when they try to use certain waivers. So I think we need to get back to the core fact that, you know, there are regulations in place. If your co-op or if your district bid for that bulk product, and now you want to shift gears into an IW product, there's not a lot of flexibility these days. I mean, the bid is the bid. Once it's awarded, there's not a lot of flexibility to add new products. It's very strict. And so you may need to rebid or go out for new bid for those particular products. And I know that from a co-op standpoint, I'm looking at certain things about, you know, what do my districts want in the way of IW, what's available, and what kind of a bid do I need to put out for those products. I also think schools need to be prepared with about 3 plans. Plan A, they get their IW products. It's a golden day, perfect day. Plan B is they got bulk products, but they've got some packaging that they can use. And so they're able to individually wrap or you know, have contained boxed meal. Plan C is we have no containers and we got bulk products. We're going to serve in the cafeteria today, and are we ready? So I literally think it needs to be so fluid and flexible going into the reopening, and be prepared for anything, you know, on the drop of a dime. You got to be ready to go with this direction or that direction. And like, you know, you've explained, Rick, you can't be a yo-yo. Your companies cannot keep up with that. And I think school districts need to hear that. They need to land on a product they can use and stick with it. And that's going to make everything run more smoothly. All right, can I move on? Elizabeth, do we have a question?
We do have 2 questions.
Okay.
Just mention one. This goes back to the projection of products to the manufacturers. So I understand that manufacturers are wanting the district to project items for next year. If school district A does this correctly, how can they be assured that school district B doesn't take their items?
That is a great question. Anyone is welcome to answer to that.
Me.
Okay, Candace.
First in, first order delivered. First come, first serve.
Okay. Anybody else want to answer to that question? It is tricky business. Yes, Jody.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, we've been trying to really sort of brainstorm about, you know, I mean, about Rick's.
Jody, you're cutting in and out. I don't know if that's for everyone or just for me.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm concerned, like Rick is, we have similar situation. We do produce our IW product on a completely different line from bulk. We don't anticipate any issues. We just don't know what to make. So I think the sooner, and to Candace's point, the sooner you can get your inventory in, it's not going to be like it was in the past. And, you know, even if you're ordering bulk and IW, because I love your plan, Keri, be ready for both. If you get your IW, great. If not, be ready with the bulk backup plan. Maybe you're doing both depending on your, you know, your grade level. But I would say, it's just not too soon to start ordering, because I believe it was Rick that mentioned, I mean, there is going to be a national surge next month. And, we are going to guess, we are going to, do our crystal ball guess, and we are going to run our plants and produce as much as we possibly can in July on our IW stuff. I think somebody said, even Candace, I mean, we're looking at forecasting, we know you're, for us with condiments, we know a lot of people are looking at going to portion control versus, a bulk condiment. Again, we have no idea what to run. So I would just suggest, if buildings are open, if there's any way you can get orders in, back to Candace, first one in, you got your order. I mean, unfortunately, it's true. I mean, it's a great question about forecasting. I mean, either it works and 100% of the people forecast, or it's almost impossible. I mean, we dedicate inventory based on orders. We're actually, working with our distributors now. We're looking at putting a bulletin out, encouraging them to get their orders in early too. So, I mean, I think it's just going to all back up. The sooner the schools could take the product, it's going to help the distributors if they get their orders in early. I mean, I don't know if that's a possibility, but it certainly would help.
Yes, and I also have a comment on that because, I think sometimes there are those schools that do their due diligence. They forecast with their distributor, but then the distributor gets shorted. And it's one of my topics here at the end, so it's a great segue into this question. I think that they feel there's that unfairness existing out there, but I've talked in previous meetings about real-time data with the manufacturers, and Dawn Strain with Schwan's and I had a conversation about they're sitting on 20,000 cases of one product, but they're down to maybe 100 cases of another product. And so to maybe get that real-time data in front of the districts as they begin to plan some of their orders each week or each month, so that maybe they're choosing products that we know you as manufacturers are either in overstocked or fully stocked, rather than choosing products that are understocked or almost depleted. And so that is a conversation I am having with my distributor, that I'm trying to put out there. Like, I don't know how this thing would look, to have real-time data available, throughout the year. But it is a thought that's going on right now and being talked about. And yeah, Brenda, you had with Tyson wanted to chime in here.
Yes, yeah, Brenda with Tyson. I just wanted to reiterate that I think the flexibility on the school side is critical right now, because we have 75 different chicken nuggets, 125 different hamburgers. I think as we begin as manufacturers to put our core list of the products that we know we're going to produce in quantities that can meet demand, I think our districts have to be flexible enough to work with us if they're worried about that with their menu planning. The second part of that is there's things that are out of our manufacturers' controls. I mean, with COVID-19 right now, it has nothing to do with the supply of ingredients or materials. It's getting people that are able to come to work and keep those plants open and running. So with a shift in products, things can change on a dime, no different than what happened in the districts as a whole of how they serve students. So I think the flexibility is the key word in the sentence. And I know a lot of our schools have issued out types of catalog bids to help incorporate that. It's not like you're changing to a whole new product line. We may have to change from one popcorn chicken to another coat of popcorn chicken that's produced at a plant. It's the same type product, just a different variants. So those are some things I think we have to keep in back of our mind as we work with our manufacturers, as well as our distributors that are sitting on inventory that they brought in with the anticipation of districts using, and now they've had changes. So we just got to work and make sure we're providing those lists of what we have readily available and work together as a team and continue to build that inventory on their needs.
Hey,
Yes,
Keri.
and I agree. This is the word for this year is flexibility, and you have to say, understanding and flexible. Kevin, you wanted to go ahead and say something to this topic?
Well, Brenda just kind of hit what I was going to mention. All the schools need to be a little bit flexible with the distributors, because the distributors have stock that is from March or earlier from this past school year that has been sitting there, and they're wanting to get that out of their inventory first before they start bringing in individually wrapped items, any more bulk items. So we have to get that inventory drained, because we can't take it back. I don't know of any manufacturer that can say, yeah, we'll bring it back to our facility when we don't know what condition it's in. If it has to be the inventory that's in the distributors right now is going to be what they're going to probably distribute to start the school year with.
Correct.
Which the majority of that is bulk.
Yes, that is correct. And honestly, what Labatt or Cisco or Gordon's could not sell is exactly what the manufacturers cannot sell. So you're both sitting on stocked items that are the same. So that is a real issue. I know I can speak for Labatt that they are watching. They have what they call a flag report that they receive on a daily basis. And if any district has requested an excessive amount of product that is outside of their historical purchasing norm, they are going to deny that district gobbling up a lot of product. So I know that I don't know what other distributorships are doing, but I do know that Labatt is handling the situation in that way. So they're not going to let someone come in and scoop up, 500 cases and stockpile when they typically order 10 cases a week. They're just not going to let that happen. So there are some checks and balances in the system. Yes, I've seen two people. So I'm going to go ahead and call on Rick. I saw your hand go up first. Rick with Land O'Lakes.
Yep, Keri, Rick from Land O'Lakes. Yeah, so just to reiterate, I'm in agreement and really echo what everybody said. We don't have a crystal ball. What we did see, and I'll give you an example, when this first hit, the one item that we had issues with was the cup, our cheese cup, our shelf-stable cheese cup. And we saw a demand on that was like 6 and even 8x what normal demand is. Some of that was from people stockpiling, even distributors ordering a lot more because they were shorted. So they're going to, well, hey, let's order double what we think we need. So, hey, that if we get cut 50%, we'll get what our order is. But what that does is that just is a domino effect of not being able to, give everybody what they order. So if if school A orders and school, B orders and A gets their product, but B does not, but both have a forecast, some of that is why. The other thing is you can always get to the situation of where demand outstrips manufacturing capability. We got to that point.
Toilet paper comes to mind.
Yep, exactly.
Seriously.
Toilet paper, yep. And we got to that point on our cups. And at that point, we're coming every day, we're having meetings going, all right, are we going to cut this person 50% and get this person 80%? Or how are we going to do this? Is everybody across the board getting 50%? Or, we giving some 100% and some nothing? So it's really hard to say A is going to get it and B is not, even if you have forecasting, because you just don't know what a crystal ball, we don't know what's going to go on. If there's a run on IW and there's only so much there, people are going to get shorted, regardless of forecasting.
That is correct.
So it's just a tough call. We don't have a crystal ball, I think so flexibility is a good word when you say that.
Right. Now, I do want to hear from Larissa about packaging materials, because we talk about, that mad dash, that surge of orders and depleting stock, and there's that catch-up time. But with a packaging company like Parpack, are you seeing anything during this whole time, a shortage of raw materials to create containers, plastics, papers, such thing, whatever goes into making everything you make?
No, not at this time. Most of our products are made in the United States, so we don't have to depend on anything coming from overseas. And if it's not made in the United States, it's made in our Canadian facility. So we make our own raw material also, we produce that. So there is not a shortage at this time.
And I think that's important for everyone to hear because, like you mentioned, Rick, and everyone else, the IW products, not everyone's going to get them. You may want them, but numbers that I'm hearing is that, it cuts production times down to 25% of what you might normally do. So in my mind, I'm thinking 100 districts order the IW, 25 are going to get the IW, 75 are going to get subbed a bulk item. And I think that is where we need to sit and go, okay, I got to be prepared for that day, that week, and it may be several weeks in a row. All right, any questions, Elizabeth, before I move on?
There are questions. Let me filter time a little bit.
Go ahead. You can ask a couple of questions.
Okay. Let me start with the one that says about commodity processing. How does commodity processing forecasting work with what the companies will be producing?
Anyone can answer to that. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead, Rick.
I guess I'm lucky enough that one commodity code reaches across our whole portfolio. So it really doesn't affect us either way. If it's on the bid, you can substitute it. The forecasting side of it is, definitely needed on each item. But I guess I would say that if you're forecasting, let's say, cheese sticks, and then all of a sudden you instead order bulk cheese, I think we're really prepared from the standpoint of historical and just from that standpoint and our demand planners that we're usually prepared for something like that. Now, I will say, if it's just like a run-on, like IW, if it was a run-on on those cheese items then, or those slices, then yeah, we could run into situations of shorting people.
I would like to hear from either Candace or whoever's doing a fee for service, because that creates a whole different situation. With net off invoice products, that is a commercial purchase or commodity. But Candace, you can probably speak to this the best because JTM offers, beef and pork. Share your thoughts on that.
Thank you. So yes, we do offer the fee for service modified as well as the NOI programs. And just to back up to what Brenda and Rick were saying, is that K-12 is only one segment of our business at JTM. We have multiple segments of retail, restaurant business, food service business, military business, as well as USDA business. So we find ourselves in the K-12 division fighting for line time. While we make almost 200 products for the K-12 division, we cannot possibly produce 20,000 cases of each of those products. That's why we need the forecasting to know what you really want. And, fee for service products, that's actually been our savior. We've had a lot of school districts that have ordered from us direct because there's no room in the distributors to bring product in, or they're not bringing new product in. So that's one thing that's really saved us, is all of our direct ship customers that buy fee for service. So we plan to continue having all of those options available moving into the year. The question just comes back to, how can we service every account when there's a big question mark? We just need that blank filled in.
Right. Yes, Jennifer with Tyson.
And kind of to Candace's point too, going back to historical data. I mean, our plan is, until we know more information to get better forecasting from the schools on what their needs are, is looking towards what we've done historically, is producing those products. So the more we hear from you on what your needs are, the better we can pivot and change and go that direction on the products. I mean, it does us no good to produce a bunch of product that's going to sit in a warehouse. We want to make sure we have the right mix of products that you need. And until we hear that from you guys, all we have to go by is historical data.
And that's why I said first in, first out, because orders drive production.
Yes. Okay, anyone else want to chime in on that? Yes, Kathy with General Mills.
Comment on that. I know that I've had feedback from some districts saying they give their forecast to their distributor, but it's also nice if they want to share it with me also, just for the fact that I let my production team know that, hey, Labatt's going to be asking for this in addition to what we have always done in the past. And that's how we love your forecast and your feedback. Again, Kathy, General Mills. So those are things that are very beneficial to us, because I want what you need for your kids, because I know a lot of you have so many different diets you're even trying to do, and subbing one product with another is really not doable when a parent knows their child is eating what you are actually menuing. So.
Right. Okay, Elizabeth, I think you had another question that came in on this.
They're a little bit of a mix. They're there was a question about, aren't we required to purchase what we process? And that's something maybe you want to address.
Well, yes, if you know, I think every co-op does it differently. For my co-op, I can only speak specifically that we do collect specific products and specific quantities. The program we use, and several co-ops in the state use it. It's a pre-order module that's a part of the Fidelis Processor Link program. And we do expect that as I call it a commitment, but we know that things can come up, whether a force majeure as we're dealing with right now, or maybe a product doesn't take with the kids, they can shift and use another product. But I do inform my districts that if you're gonna switch to a different product, you have to, get with the distributor, if you're going to the distributor, or if it's with the processor, and if there's any product that's already been brought in for you, you need to go ahead and purchase it and be sure that you're giving enough lead time for the new product to be delivered. So that you're not taking someone else's product. So that is information that is shared, and I'm sure other co-ops share the same information. Kevin, you had a comment on that with Wild Mike?
On your point there, we don't mind if a school decides that they want to change to another product, because it happens all the time. They get a product that they thought the kids were gonna go for, but then all of a sudden they've had a change in flavor or what their taste buds really enjoy. So if it's a large district and they order large amounts, either through distribution or direct, we ask that they immediately let us know the new item and allow us at least 3 to 4 weeks to get the forecast into our production. Because if you expect it to be delivered the following week and we haven't prepared for that production of that product, then you're not going to get it. So yes, you can change it, but you have to allow a little bit of time for us to make up that production shortage.
And I appreciate you saying that, Kevin, because I think a lot of times schools do think, oh, I can stop serving it this week and get my new product next week or the following week. But for the most part, I've heard no one is under 21 days lead time. In fact, most of you are saying 4 weeks out. And I think the districts need to understand that. And that's why that forecasting is so important, and sticking with what you forecasted. That's huge. Yes, I think Rick had a comment on that. Yes, Rick, with Land O'Lakes.
Just two things. One, so as far as I know, allocations were due to the state prior to the pandemic, as far as I know that. So, and then the other thing is from everything I hear, most people are wanting to basically maintain what the menu was in the past. And that's for the kids' sake. They don't want to, be opening packages and eating IW the whole year. They're hoping to be able to eat some warm meals and hot meals that they normally would find in the cafeteria. So I guess my point is that based on the allocations and based on that, I would the more you can adhere to, a good old-fashioned, or not the new style, but the older menus, I think it's going to help everybody out, from manufacturing and school districts.
Yes, I would agree. And I do hear a lot of my districts saying that, they are trying to stick with what they had planned because they know that that's probably the products they're going to find readily available. I'm going to use that as a segue to jump into some of the company-specific questions that many of you submitted to me. And I want to start with Larissa with ParPac, because I would like for her to speak to specific packaging for certain situations or scenarios of food service. So there are recommended packaging or containers for in the cafeteria, or for in the classroom, or a kiosk in the hallway. So Larissa, that is my first question that I'm asking you to talk about is, what does ParPac in the way of recommendations, just a few short minutes, maybe give us some ideas.
Sure. So as we discussed earlier, the whole segment has changed in regards to offer versus serve, and now looking for containers that you can package the full meal. So we have a variety of different containers, and one that I can think of, and I will have that on our link after this call that I will provide to Keri, is our lunchbox. So our lunchbox, it can be used for 5 different scenarios, just throwing that out. As classroom seating, it could be used in cafeteria, outdoors. If the kids are going outdoors, you could take it home. They can use it for a variety of different things. So a lot of our hinge containers are also big enough where you can put the milk in there, the sandwich if you're going to do that, a fruit to meet all of the components to meet the National School Lunch Program. So there are a variety of different things. Besides the hinge containers, we also have containers that have lids. And plus, if you wanted to do any kind of heating up, we can also do that. We have containers that are used for those. So I do have some information that I can send out to everyone, which I will provide to Keri, which will give you some ideas and that can help with that. So whatever the situation is, we'll be able to help you.
Great. As you were talking, I was thinking maybe you guys need to come up with a container with a screen top for those French fries that none of the French fries companies seem to have. It will contain the fries, lidded cup. There you go. There's your next product.
Well, actually, we do have some containers that are for hot food that have little vents that can be used for French fries and hot food in different applications. So
okay, there you go. You need to get in touch with Becky Fox. So you can work something out.
There we go.
Yes. Okay, great. All right. Moving on to yet another question. So on the container subject here, I'm going to move over to Kevin Horn with Wild Mike's. And as far as your bulk pack pizzas, is there an option to get a box or some kind of a flat container in the bulk pack that would allow a school to package the pizza themselves? Or I know you talked about individually wrapping and the process that takes, but what about the flip side, a container or box?
We have, and I'm going to show self-promotion here. We have our little Wild Mike's bags that, for the purpose of bulk, that people want to transport and feed in the classroom, or even if they're coming through and just grabbing it off the line, they can grab it and not worry about touching it. We have that. It's not available at a distributor right now, so it would have to be shipped either by UPS or FedEx to a school district that that we could get that to them to do the bulk, especially at the beginning of the school year when, like I said, we know there is going to be a lot of bulk product that the distributors are going to be wanting to get moved out before they start bringing in any new individually wrapped products or even more items on top of what they already have. So yes, we do have that wrap for that sole purpose to get the bulk product in almost to an individually wrapped state.
Okay, great. And I'm gonna pose that question to the Tyson group as well. Any one of you can answer to that. Typically we see chicken nuggets and a lot of your chicken products, and even your advanced PRB products bulk packed. What are some changes or some new options that might be offered with Tyson in the way of packaging that might come in a bulk pack box?
Thank you, Keri. This is Jennifer with Tyson. So we are working on some different solution opportunities as well. We do currently have several items that we have that are bulk that do contain some sort of packaging, like the Bosco comes with the sleeves. We have a burger that has a sleeve pack. We've got a popcorn chicken that has the little bags inside of them. But we've also been working with Cool School on several different packaging options, and we've got a couple things that I'll just kind of show, like the Chick-fil-A style little boxes that you can get through Cool School that designates the different tenders, nuggets, boneless wings, very versatile. And then we have the full line bags that we offer through Cool School. So that can help on your bottom line too. So you can use your Cool School points, or there's a cash option. We're adding a burger bag that will be available on Cool School. And we're also looking at more of like a KFC style bigger box, so you can put the whole meal component in there and use it for burgers. You can use it for chicken. It'll be very versatile and big enough where you can put all the components in So
And I've got a quick question about the Cool School Cafe. I mean, I've talked with them briefly. Unfortunately, the BAT does not shoot out a report that they want, so schools have to do that individually if they are participating on the Cool School Cafe program. But if they are going to get, say, packaging such as that through the utilization of their points, is that something that Cool School Cafe would ship to them directly, or does that come with, okay, that was my curiosity. Okay, thank you. You can continue on.
That the schools on doing their points, that they can actually, the distributor can send velocities into Cool School on behalf of the school. So I don't know if that's something that you guys know about as well. So a lot of them may already have points in the bank that may not know that they have.
Okay, and that's where I can say that Labatt will not do that. The school district has the ability to run a velocity report, or I can get a velocity report for them. But they can always request that as well through their Labatt sales rep. It's one of the few distributors, I think, that does not provide that directly to Cool School Cafe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so I'm looking at some of these questions. If you guys want, I'm looking to the left here. All right. I'm going to kind of shift gears here unless anyone else wants to chime in on that particular question. Yeah, Elizabeth, got a question.
Yes, it kind of goes along with what you guys were just talking about as far as packaging. So how does a school know what type of packaging a manufacturer offers for their bulk products?
So shy of in the description, like when I look at some of the bulk pack foods that come with, say, a foil sleeve, such as the hamburgers or the Bosco sticks, obviously the IW products are always going to be tagged in the description as an IW. Does anyone else have a answer to that? So let's say if some pizza boxes come in with the bulk pack pizza, that should be in the specification or the description. That's just from my side. I could certainly collect that information. Don Strain with Schwan, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I don't know that this answers the question completely because it's pretty generic, but because we have packaging available as well, it's available. You can find it through our website. If packaging comes with the product, it is in the product description, but otherwise, in materials that we send out, part of our reward program, the Kitchen Circle, has packaging available as well. I just picked up, this is a sleeve, but we have slips, the same type of pizza, inserts made, they're just like this, that are available there as well, in addition to boxes, wedge boxes, 5-inch boxes. But going to the website, there's a number of different ways to find that out.
And so I guess I would ask the group to email me if your company just sells the packaging as a standalone product. That would be something I could put on bid. I do have some larger pizza boxes on bid with Labatt, and that's something that could be added. So if any of you if you just sell the packaging alone, yeah, I'd like to know that. I'm sure my members would like to know that as well. So Jody, yes.
Yeah, we've kind of been struggling with this because, do we need to now look at providing some type of packaging? I mean, up to now, there's been a lot of, available, individual, portion cup type things, in order to portion things out of number 10 cans and pouches. But we are trying to explore, and I mean, again, ideally, we would rather partner with our distributors and create, information that provides, the items that the distributor already has in stock that would match up to pre-portion with our products. So, I mean, that's kind of the direction that we're heading. Again, assuming there's plenty of packaging from Larissa to pre-pack. If it starts to look like there's going to be a run on individual packaging to package 2-3 ounce condiments or sauces or salsa, then we might have to look at, also having, being a resource. But again, we'd like to get some feedback on that as well.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because, we do have par pack items on bid, as many other co-ops do as well. And we try to have everything that a school might want in that regard. But I think it, you know, it is one of those things, the more I can be informed about packaging, but it is a slippery slope because you get into a stylized, you know, package where it says it's a Tyson nugget. Tyson does not want anyone else putting their nuggets, another brand nugget in that box, because kids think they're getting Tyson nuggets. If they don't like them, guess what? They don't think they like Tyson nuggets. So it is a slippery slope when you start getting into, you know, labeled packaging. And once it leaves your hands, is there a guarantee? I dealt with this in my co-op last year with another company, but just, you know, being informed of what's out there. But hopefully companies like ParPack will stay, you know, in a good condition with getting the raw materials that are right here in the U.S. and being able to provide and meet the demands of the nation. I wish you luck on that, Larissa. Yes. All right. Any questions, Elizabeth, that we need to address at this point? No? Okay. All right. Moving on to some more questions. So I'm going to ask this to Dawn with Schwan's. So what, and this goes to anyone once he's done answering, what is Schwan's doing outside of products to support the child nutrition operations?
All right, well, thank you. You know, I'm going to, in the spirit of the political season upcoming, I'm going to answer a different question to begin with, like they do in debates, so forgive me. But I saw a comment that in the chat Q&A that we need as manufacturers to understand that the nutrition departments don't even know what model, you know, what school's going to look like. And I just wanted to let you know that I think that everybody, all of the panelists understand that. So when we talk about needing forecast and that sort of thing, unfortunately, that's true too. It's not a round peg going into a square hole. It's just two round pegs that, you know, neither one fits into each other. You don't know, but we need it. So we do get that, and I feel for you, man. I know we all do. As far as what Schwan's is doing, a number of things. Our senior leadership team is not only strong supporters of SNA as a number of other manufacturers here as well, but working closely with SNA and USDA regarding waivers and counseling, et cetera. You mentioned the Tda Task Force. I've been involved in that every week for the past couple of months, where a number of, you know, I think you have a couple of counterparts, but there's other nutrition directors and distributors, other manufacturers, food banks that all get together with TDA staff to talk about the critical needs and issues and help provide guidance. And just a number of things. We've talked about some of them, resources that we're pulling together to help out from a model standpoint, service model, that sort of thing. So those are some of the things that we've been doing outside of product.
Yes, great. Thank you. Yes, and we do sit on that same task force. Anyone else want to chime in on that, of maybe what your company has been doing that might be just outside of the product situation? I'm sure many of you have been so focused on your products. Anyone wants to chime in on that? No? Oh, Candace, yes, go ahead.
I would just like to say thank you so much to JTM for having a marketing department, because they have created some great how-to PowerPoints, YouTube videos, a lot of flyers that can be printed by the schools and included in their meals to go or meals reheated at home. So without that marketing department, we would not have been able to do that. And I know we've shared some of them with you guys already, Keri, and they're on your website. So
yes.
Just taking our bulk products and just showing that you can send it home in different ways, or reheat it, or heat the product and serve it in packaging. So that's been a big bonus for us.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, many of you know that I am building a web page with links to YouTube videos that are more of a product expo, how to work with some of your bulk products, you know, various packaging ideas, menu recipe ideas that simplify and make it easy for a variety of serving, you know, methods. So that is always available. Yes, Brenda, you had raised your hand.
Well, I just wanted to say that outside of the product, we know with some of the serving and the curbside and things of that nature, we did work with our marketing group to provide like ponchos for rainy days, an umbrella, things of that. Now, was it in mass quantities? No, but where there was districts that were truly in need, that were trying to, find ways to make their program work, which was sort of outside of. So, where we support dollars for marketing and posters and table tents and things of that nature, we felt like that was the direction we needed to go in to help these schools get meals to kids. So I was excited to help and hoped and was trying to be a blessing to keep those programs running. So.
Yes, and we thank you for that. I mean, all of you, and whatever way you helped the districts, that were in need, because it was a scary, trying time for a lot of them, but they were on the front lines doing what they had to do. So I'm going to wrap this up with, Rick, you want to chime in here? Then I want to wrap it up.
Just going to say one real quick thing. I'll just reiterate with what Candace said. We've done a lot of the same stuff. And I don't want to leave this as if we're pushing everything on the school to say, hey, you guys owe us all this, and if you don't get us this, hands up, we're kind of tied. I think it's kind of one of those help us, help you, and we're both saying it to each other. So I think we can all work together, develop the recipes and develop how-to videos and all that, trying to figure out how we can help you guys feed the kids and really just maintain business. So I just didn't want to leave it as if everybody's saying, school districts, you guys are the ones that are, you guys owe us this, and if we don't have that, then we're, kind of not doing a good job. But anyway, I just wanted to leave it at that.
Thank you, Rick. So I do want to leave the group with this last question, and anyone can answer to this, but I would like to know from some of you, all of you, what is your biggest concern right now in being prepared for the reopening of school? And I'm sure you're probably going to have about the same answer, but anyone wants to throw it out there and further expand on it? Go ahead, Larissa.
Well, the uncertainty, as everybody will answer. We want to be prepared. We want to service the schools the best that we can. And we just don't know how to do that. We want to make sure. I need to inform my production department and so forth. And so we will do our best, and we'll just pivot, which is the big word, to whatever is the outcome.
Okay. Yes. And before I let you go, Chris Smith. So most of you are dealing with domestic products, but now Chris, being with Sun Cup, we're talking juice, and we're talking possibly juice concentrate, which we know is typically not a domestic product. So is that a concern for you right now with the reopening and being able to meet the demand?
No, it's not. And man, I am sitting here listening to everybody talk, and I'm feeling pretty fortunate the position that I'm in now compared to what I was in about a year or so ago. So my hat's off to all you guys that are having to deal with this. We're in a great shape right now. I mean, we're 6 to 8 months out on inventory to produce the packaging, the product that we need. Having the shelf stable is a big piece for us. So, I mean, that's really what's getting us through this. And I think honestly, for me to kind of jump back a little bit on the earlier question, is there a deadline or should there be some kind of deadline? Because I have a hard time wrapping my hands around schools not knowing at all what they're going to do next year. Some are saying they're jumping in both feet neck deep. Some of them are going to do 50% of the kids one day, 50 the other, 4-day school weeks. I mean, I would think surely we've got to have something locked in soon on what's going to be done as far as serving the kids for next year, because that will help us get a little more better direction on what we need to produce, just based on knowing what you're going to be doing with your kids. I've heard the only consistency that I've heard really from all my customers is it's going to be very limited as far as what they offer. So instead of 10, it's going to be like 2, some maybe just 1. So if we just had an idea of that, sooner than later would be great.
Yes, and I feel your pain. And I think, I had a conversation with my team yesterday with Region 10, and my supervisor shared with us that the Education Commissioner of Texas was about to come out with an announcement. Now, this is an individual that has been leaning towards year-round school. And my comment back was, I hope that's the announcement, because when TDA gives every school the right to make their own decision, when do you start, when do you take your vacations or your time off, year round, half days, what? There's such inconsistency. And how can any manufacturer or distributor keep up with that? There's no conformity. There's nothing that is a continuance or solid. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything. I'm not sure when that announcement is about to come out. I would love to see them kind of mandate, what does school look like this year because of COVID? And everyone's on board on the same schedule. We know what we want. We know how we're serving. I think that I can speak on behalf of my food service directors that they are all feeling very frustrated because they are not the decision makers. They're waiting on their administration, their superintendents, to tell them, what is your food service going to look like? And I've heard some pretty wild ideas that the food service directors are trying to tell their supers and their administration, that doesn't really work that way. We can't really do that. That's going to be impossible. And so a lot of them probably feel like they're fighting a losing battle with those that really don't understand child nutrition and what it takes to serve a child a meal, you know? So I'm hoping by the end of June.
Teachers. I mean, are the teachers on board? Are they aware that there's a good chance they're going to be serving food in their classroom morning and afternoon? You know, typically they're not always on board.
No,
you know?
I know. Well, and then you have to keep in mind that, you know, schools are talking about some kids there, the other kids are virtual. You know, I would not want to be a teacher right now. That's all I can say. Because not only do you got to teach virtually, but teach the kids in your classroom, but now you got to serve breakfast and lunch. No, thank you. You don't pay me enough.
I don't want to be a janitor either.
No.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up, but if anyone has any closing statements you want to make, I know Diane Duncan is with Red Gold, and she's fairly new team member with Jody Batten, so I didn't really call on you, Diane, because, you know, you're new to Red Gold. I was going to put you on the spot, but if you have been in the industry for many years with different companies, so if you've got any last minute thoughts you want to throw out there, and same with Kathy. Didn't hear from Kathy a lot there, so.
I just thank you for the opportunity to be here. I look forward to working with each of you, and I am just absorbing all sorts of knowledge through Jody, and it's fun to be back, you know, with my people, as I like to call it. So.
Good. And Kathy, did you, with General Mosey, have any last minute thoughts there?
I would love to, just because I want everybody to know I envy all what you guys have done in the last few months. I actually joined social media just to see all the cool stuff you guys have been doing, and those are things that make me proud to be a Texan right now in my life. So, and I want you to know you're not the only one going through that struggle. And if you ever need, you know, just anything, I'll figure out a solution of something if there's anything I can help you out with or get the right direction. So those are things, and communication is huge. We all know that. And honestly, good luck this next year. I think we're going to have fun figuring it out. And I think we have a good team of people who want the best for you too. So.
Agreed. Thank you. All right. Anybody else before? Oh, yes, Rick. With Land O'Lakes.
Real quick, I'll just echo that, what Kathy said. We're here to help. You know, reach out anytime. I mean, that's what we're here for. So just reach out for everyone on this. I think I can speak. So thanks for having us.
Thank you. And yes, I will be sharing each of your contact information with the attendees. So if anyone has a direct question for you, or if any questions that come in afterwards that we feel need to direct to any one of you, we'll be sharing those. I want to thank all my panelists today. This was a great group and great conversation. I think some really imperative information was shared today with the attendees. So I'm so appreciative of you guys. It's a great industry to be in, and I really enjoy my job. Work with such wonderful people.
I love the format.
Yeah.
Great job, Keri.
Thank you.
Thank
you guys
you,
go
Keri.
have a great rest of the week. I'll leave the chat panel open, but I'm going to stop the recording. So if there's anything else coming through, if you guys want to stick around for 5 minutes, I'll leave it up. But thank you again. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Be safe, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Keri.